Hi. Okay, we are live on Instagram and LinkedIn. This is a new thing that I am trying this morning. So, welcome. Thank you for being here. I am going live every single day this week. This is the very first, the inaugural daily live with Lauren. Going to go live every day, and I would love for you to join me. We are doing this to honor the countdown towards our Bond 7 doors closing. So every day I'm going to be talking about a different topic and also answering some of your FAQs around Bond 7. And today I am going to talk about creativity, courage, and confidence, because I really deeply believe that the three are inextricably linked. I think confidence breeds creativity, courage breeds confidence. They are all interlinked. So, I guess the first thing that I want to talk about is the courage piece, because I think courage and confidence are almost like a snowball. Confidence in particular is reinforcing, because it's not something that you either are or you are not. It's not something that you're born with. It's not something that is innate. It's something that you become. It's something that you learn. And the key to that learning happening is action and experience. It's trying new things, having experiences, or I like to call it doing the thing. So by doing the thing, you open yourself up to things going wrong, making mistakes, failures, and those things lead to you learning, therefore lead to you improving. And so that snowball continues. So the more you try, the more you learn, the more your confidence increases. And you will all have experiences of this in your own life. Maybe think back to when you were learning to drive, or when you were learning to play a new sport, or when you were learning to parent. Parenting is a really good example of that as a lifelong learning journey. And just as our confidence increases in one area, something else, somewhere else in the system changes, and our confidence can come crashing back down. And that's where community really kicks in. Because community, I think, is a vital ingredient in this equation of courage and creativity and confidence. Because community is what buoys you when you have those inevitable days and moments and periods of time where your confidence is low and you do need a boost and you do need support. And that's why I love the idea of thinking about it like a snowball. It's something that is cultivated. Confidence is something you can cultivate in yourself, and I believe it's cultivated by community. So just yesterday, I was talking about this concept of believing mirrors. So this is something that I learned from Julia Cameron, who is very famous, has written so many books. Her most famous book is probably The Artist's Way. And she talked about this idea of having believing mirrors in your life. And believing mirrors are people who mirror back to you your best self. They mirror back to you your potential, your power, your light. And she said, believing mirrors are vital to living a creative life. And I know from the conversations that I have had with thousands of women from all over the world who have been part of our bonds, that not all of us have believing mirrors in our lives. Certainly not all of us grew up with believing mirrors in our family. If we are lucky, we have one or two brilliant believing mirrors. The brilliant thing about the bond is it is a hall of believing mirrors. I really am going to run with this metaphor because I think it's so real. It's like what I see and hear and what all our data tells us about the power of the bond is that believing mirror capacity being multiplied and amplified over and over and over again. And so when you have those moments of courage, you're doing the thing, and it might be a small thing. I think sometimes we get caught up thinking that they have to be big, grand, bold acts of, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to, sometimes these acts are small. They're about changing our daily routine. They're about building a new friendship. They're about starting a new writing habit. They're about spending more time outside, And I think Bond 7 is an invitation to you to commit to those small things, to commit to taking those steps and doing the thing that becomes the start of the snowball. It becomes the start of your momentum. And that we know from in this conversation just now, we have folks from Bond 1, Bond 2, Bond 3, Bond 4. There is a reason that they are still here, still doing this work, still having these conversations, because they are in the momentum. It is carrying them over months and months and years. And that results in different things in different parts of their life. And you might be thinking, well, who am I? But who am I to even consider this? Who am I to think I can create, that I can take up more space in the world, that I can tell stories, that I can have ideas, that I can make brave decisions? And I think it's that really common trap that I often fall for, and that I know many of you do, where you assume that other people have figured it out. And you assume that there is an answer or a recipe or a secret that you don't have access to. And that if you could just get that secret to confidence, to courage, to creativity, then the rest will take care of itself. And what I know from working in this area for 6 years, for spending time with some of our incredible podcast guests, psychologists, authors, artists, activists, every single one of us experiences self-doubt and procrastination and self-sabotage and not feeling good enough and feeling stuck and feeling in a rut, because all of those things are human. It does not mean you have imposter syndrome. It does not mean that you have a problem, that you are a problem to be fixed. It means you are human. But the difference is, in the thing that I want to teach you, the thing that Bond 7 will teach you, is how to do the thing despite those feelings. It's getting to a place where even when those feelings are loud, you do the thing despite them. And I heard this really lovely metaphor. I can't exactly remember where I heard it now, but it was this notion of, so we all have self-doubt. We all have these very normal human questioning ourselves, questioning our place in the world. Essentially, we're all swimming in this sea. We're swimming in a sea, a soup of self-doubt. And the reason that we are all in that sea together is, particularly if you are a woman, is because society has taught us to focus on what we lack. There are billion-dollar industries, multiple of them, that exist because women focus on what they lack instead of what they are and what they have. And that is not an accident. And this is when the idea of privilege and opportunity and education and race and age and sexual orientation and all these things become very clear and visible, because we are all swimming in that sea in a different way. Some people get lifeboats. And some people have a whole team of people on the shore cheering for them. Some people are drowning. But we are all trying to get to these islands of self-worth, of confidence, of courage, of creativity. And I think that a big part of that journey is community. It's having, I love how one of the bonders described the bond as a confidence playground. And that's what the bond is. It's like a brave space where you can play with these new habits, these new behaviors, these new stories, and you make mistakes and you trip over and you get back up and you're surfing the wave and then you fall off and you're in a fast speedboat and then it all goes wrong. But the community is there when you're thrown off and is there when you get back up again. And community is the buoyancy that I think takes you to the island where you can do the thing that you want to do. And ultimately, that's what confidence is about, is trusting yourself and knowing how to turn your thoughts and your ideas into action. I often think about confidence being the bridge between a thought and an idea and taking action. Because the more you take action, the easier it becomes. And I'm really lucky that I went to art school and studied design. And so really early on in my adult life, I was rewarded for just trying stuff, what we like to call prototyping. It's like we were rewarded for how fast can you make a version of this thing that doesn't exist? And how quickly can we prove this is a bad idea? And it's a muscle. It is a muscle learning to learn by doing. And the community piece is, I don't think we talk enough about how, like, the cost of confidence. And I see this in every bond where it is true that people lose friends, people lose relationships, people react in sometimes negative ways to your growth. And I think that's really real and can be very painful. And there's like a grief there of that loss. But that's why community is so important, because we're all going through this together and we're all on that same journey. And there are people in that community, people in the Bond 7 community will become the friends, the cheerleaders, the champions that celebrate. They have nothing but love for this confident version of you. And for most of us, that's not a new version. It's a version that's always been there, but it has been suppressed and squashed and quietened from a whole myriad of different sources and people and institutions. So our doors close on Friday at midnight, BST time. And before we close our daily check-in, I want to quickly go through some of your FAQs, because every bond, the same questions, the same patterns, the same blockers. So the favorite one is, you know what, I'm going to do it next time. Sign me up for Bond 8 and I will be there. So if I had £1 for everybody that told me they would do it next year, I would be a multimillionaire. So I think let's acknowledge that not always, but often saying you're going to do it next year is an avoidance strategy. And, so psychology has shown us that we view our future selves in a much more positive light. We think our future self is going to have more time, going to be more productive, going to have their shit together. And so you imagine that the future version of you will definitely do it. They probably won't, because you're delaying and avoiding. And the doors close on Friday, and then every single year I get at least 50 emails in my inbox on the Saturday and the Sunday saying, oh my God, please can you put me in? Please can I get a ticket? Don't be that person. You know, there's a reason you're watching this video. There's a reason that you're still here. You're reading the emails, you're watching the videos, you're coming to our events. Something is pulling you towards this community, towards this experience. So listen to that and say yes. You go to weareupfront.com, get your ticket today. The second thing I wanted to share is why some of you are joining, because I think it's a really powerful thing to connect with the stories behind the humans, right? You've probably heard me say a couple of times now, there's over 400 people have signed up. And it's easy to see that number and think, but who are those people? You know, who are those 400 people? Where have they come from? What types of people are they? So I'm going to share with you some of the reasons why you're signing up, because women join the bond from all over the world. We welcome teenagers right through to women over 60. We have apprentices, managing directors, everything in between. We don't care about your job title. We care about your values. So 1Bond7 signing up because I've had an interesting and squiggly career, but mostly put it down to luck as opposed to celebrating my own talents or skills. I have a tendency to have grand ideas, make big jumps without considering small steps, and then regretting it afterwards and beating myself up about not achieving what I dreamed of. Hoping to develop better strategies here in Bond 7 for trusting myself, knowing what I want, and moving in the right direction. I've joined the bond to try and uncover the part of me that can always step forward and say what is whizzing about in my head so that I can learn and model the internal confidence that I want my daughters to possess. I've joined Bond 7 because I have wild ideas about all the things I want to do with my life, but I really struggle to commit. And I don't make any progress due to overwhelming imposter syndrome and perfectionism. And I feel really uncomfortable with the prospect of my life being working for the man. I signed up for Bond 7 after lurking and humming and hawing for the past couple of years. Confidence holds me back in a big way, and I don't want it to hold my team back. I think I'm only just beginning to see myself as a leader 9 years into my leadership journey. But I still have imposter syndrome. I struggle to find my voice. I'm so scared of failure. I'm scared of getting things wrong. And I'm plagued with feeling not good enough. Academic achievement has turned me into a force of perpetual motion, afraid to let go. Be the best English teacher, be the best mother, be the brightest social butterfly, until long COVID taught me to stop. And now, as I clamber cautiously back to the roller coaster of life, I'd like to develop the confidence to be less perfect, more relaxed, and strike a wiser balance between stepping back and stepping up. There's so many. I have pages and pages. In fact, one day we will make a book of all these stories because they are truly amazing. All the different reasons why you show up and you join. And you don't need anything. People say, do I need an idea? Do I need a goal? Do I need a specific career kind of objective? You do not need anything other than a commitment to show up for yourself and all of the other women in the bond. You don't need an idea. You don't need a goal. You don't need a career. You don't need a job. You don't need a vision. You don't need any of these things. You need the commitment to show up and take part and be present. Which leads me nicely to the biggest blocker some of you have, which is time. You know, and I get it. Like, I really do get it. We are all busy, or we feel like we're busy. And some of us do have less time than others. You know, time is often directly linked to privilege. And I guess there's a few things on the subject of time. The first thing is there isn't really a future version of yourself where you're going to have lots more time. Like, it's always going to feel difficult, uncomfortable to say you're going to make 3 hours a week for yourself. That's our recommendation. That's our recommended study time for the bond. We ask for 3 hours a week. But the most important thing about thinking about time is that nobody is going to give you this time. You have to take it and you have to make it. And one of the first exercises we do in our onboarding call is we give you scripts to learn and understand around time, because one of the most beautiful results of being a bonder is you will gain more time in your life, because things like being more direct, communicating clearly, asking for what you need, being comfortable to say no, sticking to your boundaries, all these things create time in your life. And I know that that feels a bit like topsy-turvy to imagine now, but that is a really consistent piece of feedback that we get. So you have to decide to take the time, make the time, and know that one of the reasons why it feels so incredibly difficult to say I'm going to invest this time and money in my own personal learning is that that is not something that women are encouraged to do. Women are taught from a very young age that our needs go at the bottom of the list. And so to spend time on something that is not about, that doesn't have a very tangible outcome that is linked directly to other people, even though your confidence will affect everybody in your life, it can feel uncomfortable and it can feel difficult. So what we are doing to help you get your head around that and process this and have these conversations is we are hosting a free event on Wednesday with one of our brilliant bonders, Linda Lazzaroni, who is a qualified relationship coach and a bond graduate herself. And she's going to host a 1-hour workshop to help you think about how you'll make the time for Bond 7. So if you would like to sign up for that, the link is in our bio. I'll put the link in the stories when I upload this onto LinkedIn. So that might be something that you want to think about. And I think the other thing that's blocking you is you're like, well, I really want to do it, but like, shit, it's a week. It starts in a week. And I get it. Like, it's Monday and next Monday we will be live. However, every single thing is recorded. You do not need to show up on Monday. It is not compulsory. I know people who sign up for the bond and then go on a 2 weeks holiday, or then go have a baby, or go buy a house, move house, get sick. Like, all of these things happen. It's not school. You don't need to sit and be at a desk every day for 6 weeks. Every single thing is recorded. And so it is not too late. That is why I'm here talking to you today, because we want you to sign up. Bond 8 is 12 months away. That's way too long to wait. Because it's going to be amazing. Like, so many of you are saying yes. And the energy, we're already in the Bond 7 space. We're introducing ourselves, we're connecting, and the energy is already brilliant. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, it will be emotional, but it will also be hopeful and joyful, and it's fun. Like, there is a reason why I love doing this so much. There's a reason why this bond, we have people signing up for the second time, because it's fun and it works. And it's not like a traditional course. That's why I hesitate to even use the word course, because it is a community, and I am there, and Yekemi, your other coach, is there. Our community architects are there. We are all in this together. So I hope you will join us. I hope what I shared around creativity and confidence and community gave you some food for thought. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. BST time, I am going live with the CEO of 64 Million Artists, Joe Hunter, to talk more about creativity. So make sure you come and join us, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.